bookish besties, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. You may notice that I am in the same outfit that I was in my reading 5 stars books. That's because I am filming this intro on the same day. I like to do multiple videos at once, so let's get into this one. I'm thinking this one is going to just be like a cozy fall vlog where I read some spooky books. Right now, my current read is Phantasma. And it's giving Carval, but a little darker. And I'm dual reading that on Kindle and physically. So I'm really excited about this. There's like trials, there are like different creatures like witches and necromancers and devils and vampires and all that good stuff. So we're gonna see how this one goes. And then I think I'm also planning on finishing the audiobook that I'm reading, which is The Haunting of Ashburn House. I was just looking for a good audiobook that I can listen to while last night I was making some jewelry. I want to do some crocheting and I want to do some coloring, so hopefully I can share little tidbits of those things with you guys. But I just wanted to have a good audiobook to listen to. Then I'm not sure what I'm gonna go into next. I'm sure it'll be some other kind of spooky book. So I think this vlog is going to be centered around just cozy fall spooky books. Planning on making some pumpkin bread in a little bit, so I'll share that with you guys. And then we'll see if I do a little crocheting later. But I want to read for a little bit, and tomorrow I'm going to a book signing, so I'll be sharing that with you guys as well. I'm going to see Sabata here, and she's going to be doing a talk and a signing for her new book Air that is coming out on Tuesday. Since we're going to the signing, we get it a day early, so I'm very excited for that. It's at like a Barnes & Noble that's not too far away from my job, so I'm very excited. I have a coffee made already, a little pumpkin spice number going on. I'm back with an update. So I just baked some pumpkin bread and I was listening to The Haunting at Ashburn House while I was baking, and I'm only 5 chapters in, which is 11%. So basically this girl has a memory of like being carried out of this creepy house, like seeing a woman in the door, and like she has blood on her or whatever, and she inherits this Ashburn house from her aunt that she's never heard of that died. So it's just her and her cat Wolfgang. They're in this new house and Wolfgang doesn't like it, and there was like all around the house there's like scratches and everything that says no mirrors, is it Friday, light the candle, and she has like no idea what's going on. And then there was like this episode where like Wolfgang went crazy and like outside went really quiet, so she is like really scared, and that's about where I got. She's basically just talking about that there's no power upstairs and that downstairs has electricity. So she's just kind of like roaming this house and discovering it. I like it. It's a little, it doesn't have a direction yet because we're still in like the intro, but I'm enjoying it. I think it's gonna get really creepy and have like a direction. Like she's gonna figure out like what her aunt meant by like all these scratches, and then I think we're gonna see like the ghosts. I'm going to be getting some apple cider while I give you guys an update on The Haunting of Ashburn House. I made it to about 20%. I've just been chilling and listening to the audiobook. Nothing much more has happened. She just keeps discovering these like kind of creepy things in the house. She saw that there was a family, and now these girls, 4 girls came over from town, and she's trying to figure out if they just want to be friends or if they just wanted to come and see the house because it's so creepy. So good. These girls seem to know a lot about the house. They said that every day the aunt walked into town and she was super elusive and creepy, and that there were like all these rumors about the house, and every Friday night there would be like a light lit, and that's how they knew the aunt died. So it's definitely giving like spooky creepy vibes, and I'm really enjoying the descriptions of the house because like they're like really nitty gritty and creepy. So I'm really enjoying that. The main character is not annoying, so that's good. She's just curious, and I feel bad because she's like in all this debt and like she just didn't really know any of her family except her mom. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I think after these ladies visit, things are going to start happening and we'll have to see. Hi babes, I'm back with an update. So I have updates for both The Haunting of Ashburn House and Phantasma. So the first update is I finished The Haunting of Ashburn House. I was able to finish it at work the other day. It was a really good, quick, spooky read. I think it was only about 8 hours of audiobook listening. I listened to it on Spotify. I think it's definitely worth it if you're looking just for like a haunted house spooky read. I wound up giving it 4 stars because I really enjoyed it. You're gonna categorize it. It's basically a horror slash thriller, and I would basically categorize it as a haunted house. It was both suspenseful and I think there were horror elements because there was a murder, and then there's like a corpse and like reanimation and stuff like that. So that's where I would consider it horror. The main tropes are definitely like hidden family secrets, inheriting a haunted house from like a relative you've never heard of, some minor form of like possession kind of, and a small town murder, and then like a large murder in the family where you don't know what happened and you're trying to figure out in this small town how your like descendants were murdered. Basically that's how I would like mainly describe the trope slash like main occurrences of the book. I really enjoyed Darcy Coates's descriptions of the spooky and macabre things. So I thought the house was described really well, and the way things were described made them more eerie and creepy. Like there were things scratched into like the table and like where mirrors would go, and I just feel like that added to the spooky atmosphere. She definitely created a sense of unease and suspense, like even just like little things that like wouldn't normally seem suspenseful in our everyday life. It was like horrifying, and you're like listening to this audiobook and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen? So I thought she did an amazing job creating suspense, which sometimes I feel like can be hard, and she did a great job. Sometimes I don't like thrillers and like murder mysteries and horror because sometimes the plot line can be too diverging and not get to the point, but this one had a super straightforward plot line, and I thought it was really good because it didn't really diverge from that. Like she knew she had a family mystery to solve, and so she was just kept unraveling that, and then when she finally figured that out, she had to figure out basically just how to survive the situation she was in and how to live in this house because she had no money. I loved that we had a resilient main woman character in a horror book. She was like, I'm not about to be this stupid girl that like goes looking after like haunted noises and bangs in the night, even though she did sometimes, but like she was super resilient, didn't like try to run away or get out of the situation. She was just trying to like solve the situation, and I really respected her for that. So that was one thing I really liked, because I hate when characters in horror books give you that like, you know, like the girl that dies first. I don't like those kinds of characters, so I'm really happy that we had a resilient main female character. Now, some of the things that I didn't love, it did take like 50% to get to like the main point of like what she was trying to do, what was creepy going on with the house. Like the house is creepy in general, but like really horrifying things didn't start happening till like 50% in. So I feel like the first 50% was just like setup of her relationships, her friendships, how she didn't know her aunt, like all these little things about the main character, and didn't get to the actual plot slash horror stuff until the last 50%. I did find it a slow start. And moving on to Phantasma, I'm really loving this one. I wish I didn't read it directly after Caraval because it is literally Caraval, like cut and paste, but it has like obviously like darker elements, and then it has like the paranormal elements. The writing is very descriptive, and it gives the spooky ambiance of New Orleans during like Halloween time, which I'm really loving. Let me talk about the OCD rep in this book. This is the most fantastic OCD rep I've seen in my entire life. So for those of you that don't know, I was diagnosed with OCD about like almost 3 years ago now, and I'm just learning to live with it, but I have never read OCD represented like this, because I think sometimes people just think that OCD is like having to wash your hands and do things like that, but it's not. It can be. Those can be compulsions, but that's not all it is. So this is really amazing because she like knocks on wood the same way I do, and then she has her shadow voice that tells her like if you don't get home in 10 seconds your whole house is gonna like crumble down. So I'm really appreciating the accuracy of OCD in this book. I think it's amazing, and I think every OCD character should be written like this. It's phenomenal. And again, so far we have a strong sister bond, we have magical necromancer powers, we have different paranormal creatures, and we're obviously going to have a love connection. I believe it's between her, the necromancer, and I believe it's between a phantom, which I think we already met him, and I am obsessed with him so far. And again, there's another cat in this, but it's a ghost cat, and I love it. Where I'm at, she's just entering these trials. There are higher stakes in this book because it feels like people can actually get hurt and die or be tricked into different deals with demons and all of that, because Phantasma is called like the devil house or the demon house, and it's said to be like a house that like will come to town and then people enter to obviously win something, but it's run by demons. I'm hoping to get some more reading done tonight. I don't have anything planned, so I'm very excited. I've just been getting home from work super late and I'm super tired, but we just finished our bedroom, so welcome to another filming location in my bedroom. I will see you guys later for another update. Hi friends, I'm about to make a coffee, but before I just want to give you some updates on my reading. There are probably so many noises in the background right now, I'm so sorry. But we're currently cooking dinner and doing laundry. So I'm still reading Phantasma on my Kindle, and I just finished another audiobook. I listened to Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood, and I'm not gonna really do a review on that because it was just a novella audiobook and I didn't really love it. I would probably give about a 3.5. It was short and cute, but the miscommunication that she does in her books is too much for me. I feel like it was so short I couldn't like enjoy the characters enough. Other than that, Phantasma has been great. I'm reading it on my Kindle right now. I'm in love with Blackwell, and I was talking to my friend about it and we keep saying that we're just picturing Draco, so it's hysterical. Other than that, it's just getting spicy. I think the story is definitely focusing more on the relationship now, which is fine because it's definitely a dark fantasy romance, so the romance is supposed to be prevalent. I plan to finish it within the next day or two, and then hey, sorry my camera died. Like I was saying, I want to finish Phantasma. That's definitely a goal for this video. And then I also want to read the first volume of Witch Hat Atelier because, like I said, I want to get more into the spooky mood. I have my little spooky Mickey shirt on. So now I'm going to make my coffee, eat some dinner, and then I'm going to do some editing. And then I think I'm going to read some more Phantasma on my lovely Kindle Scribe that I just got. I'm so excited. The banter is so good. If you like super witty banter with characters that are like snarky and can go back and forth really well, then this is definitely for you. It's not really enemies to lovers, it's more like forced proximity, forced bargain, that they need to be together in order for them to both successfully meet their goals. I will talk to you guys when I have another update. On Phantasma and wrap up the vlog. Phantasma is a dark fantasy romance, and the main characters Ophelia and Genevieve are sisters. Ophelia becomes a necromancer after they tragically lose their mom, and they're both figuring out how to navigate without their mom, as well as pay off her debts that she has that they're just learning about. They both enter the competition Phantasma, so Ophelia tries to get to Genevieve, and then she meets a phantom Blackwell, and they traverse their relationship as she makes a deal with him, or he helps her through the trials, and she helps him try to find whatever he needs to be free from Phantasma. Like I've said a million times, I loved the OCD rep, and I like the way that the story is written. I like the writing style. I think it was very like creepy, gory, macabre. It was definitely an atmospheric October read. I do think Genevieve as a character fell flat, and I do think that the spice was a little overzealous and that it was happening at like the weirdest, worst times. So it was almost too much for me. The trials were very cool. I liked the devils and the idea of Phantasma, and I liked the way everything played out. I wound up giving it a 4.5 because I thought that it was a really well done story, and whenever I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about when I can read it next, and after I finished it like 2 or 3 days ago, and I have been thinking about it every day, so I think that it does stick with me. It was a little long. It could have been shorter. I think it could have been a solid like 350, 400 page book instead of 500. I think that would have helped. I watched a reel on Instagram and it said that Blackwell reminds them of Astarion, and I think that's perfect. So if you're into like Astarion and Baldur's Gate, I think this would be a good book for you to look into. Some of the tropes were a mental health rep, touch her and you die, kind of like a fated relationship situation, a very strong sister relationship again, magical trials, and again, family secrets unraveling throughout the book. I did start another book on audiobook, which I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to finish it in this vlog because obviously I'm going to be ending this vlog, but I did want to talk about it a little bit. So I'm reading Where He Can't Find You by Darcy Coates. I really enjoyed Darcy Coates' The Haunting of Ashburn House, which I read in this vlog as well. So I decided to do another Darcy Coates because I really like the way she creates an atmosphere, and I think her books are leaning more towards horror rather than thriller, murder, mystery, which I've been wanting like a more gory horror where there are actual stakes involved. I'm 75% of the way through that book, and that book is a small town called Doubtful, Illinois, and there is a serial killer or monster loose, and there always has been, and it messes with technology, and it takes children and adults and just people around the town, and after they go missing, they're found either a couple weeks or a couple months later, and their body parts are all strung back together in a really different way with red thread, and sometimes it's like 2 bodies strung together, 3, whatever. There's this group of kids called the Jackrabbits, and their friend group tries to just learn as much about the Stitcher, which is what they call him, as much as they can so they can stay safe. And then the main character, Abby, her sister, winds up going missing, so this is where the mystery of the Stitcher and the stakes get higher. The main plot winds up being they're trying to figure out how to get to the Stitcher and get Hope back, which is Abby's sister, who is taken. I'm really loving this one so far. It's feeling like a 4-star. It just depends on how the ending is. I like the explanation of the Stitcher because he's not technically a man. Again, I think that Darcy Coates does a really good job with like paranormal horror and doesn't use it as a cop-out or use it as a way to just explain the creepy stuff away. I really like the way she does it, and I really love her writing style, and I love the pace of her plots, and her writing is so creepy and gross. I love it. Like, even though we're dealing with teenagers, she still uses like really disgusting descriptive words, and she explains the body horror a lot, and she also keeps the stakes really high, again, even though there are teenagers. I'm going to end the vlog here. Thank you guys for watching. You know it means the world to me. I loved spending some spooky time with you. If you want to leave a comment and don't know what to say, please leave a ghost or a pumpkin emoji. Please like and subscribe if you want more future content. But anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, happy reading!